Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Josh Monday Christian and Conspiracy Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Monday. If you don't know me, I'm a Christian rapper, devoted husband, father, and Army veteran. And today we have a returning guest. He was here last week talking about the dangers of cell phones and 5G. And this time we're going to be talking about 5G and the dangers of Wi-Fi. So, Norbert, how you doing today?
I'm doing very fine and appreciate you having me again back as a guest. Well, as today's show, it's a theme which, similar to last time, the cell phones, which refers to the entire world, more or less. You can go to every third world country, what we call third world country, power country, it doesn't matter. We have all the same problems, and the problem is 5G, which I want to talk today about, but in context with Wi-Fi. Okay.
Awesome. Let's
Now,
do it.
I have a question for you. Would you volunteer to live next to a nuclear power station?
No.
Would you volunteer to live next to a city dumpster?
City dump?
Yeah.
No.
Would you volunteer to live next to a cell phone tower?
No.
But the point is, we all live next to a cell phone tower. We
Yes.
don't have no choice no more. With 5G penetration, there are cell phone towers and transmitters, which are smaller size units everywhere. Okay. So we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Okay. This was my point I'm trying to make. Thank you for working with me.
No
Unrehearsed.
worries.
Unrehearsed.
It's all good.
Okay, second question. Um, would you place your head in a microwave oven and press start?
No. Or my cat. I want to do it for either.
Right? Why not?
Well, first of all, your head would probably blow up, and yeah, also the radiation.
Yes. It doesn't matter how much you know about it, you know instinctively that's no good, right? And the average listener today would say, so no, no, I'm not going to do this, right? They don't know much about electromagnetic radiation because we've never been educated about it, right? And it's not on CNN and it's not in school and it's not in university, it's not even medical school. But instinctively, we feel like that's a no-go, right? So what we do now, if we don't put our head in a microwave oven, which works again on electromagnetic radiation, we have it everywhere in slices, every day, everywhere, somewhere. Why is it me to present those findings? As CNN will not do it, or the government won't do it, or the big industry won't do it, or the Wi-Fi industry, of course, does not do it. 18 years ago, I found myself and my firstborn grandsons in a situation where we were harmed both by cell phones, means electromagnetic radiation. It took me, well, 18 years to figure it all out where I am today, what actually works and what doesn't work, and why. Because I wanted to know why, not just it doesn't work. It's just not enough for me. Then I invented real tools based on quantum physics made in Germany to handle the danger of electromagnetic radiation. And I've been keep being asked about it, and I think my calling is to bring certain truth in the world to my fellow man, which I believe should be mentioned. And everybody then listens to this and makes up his mind and says it makes sense, it makes no sense. That's up to you. But there are two ways to be deceived, which you have to be aware of. To believe what is true, not true, sorry, to believe what is not true, and to not believe what is true. And these are the two ways to be deceived. And of course, the other side has plenty of advertising promotions because 5G is the coolest thing in this world, right? Now, we will be doing next week, thanks to your invitation, a show, the third show in the series about natural occurring electromagnetic radiation, which is called geopathic radiation, appearing in geopathic zones, which is for me the secret cause of cancer. Now, we're going to do this next week, and I'm pretty certain that 99% of all listeners never even heard about geopathic radiation. And this is why we're bringing it and explaining it next week then. Now,
Nice.
today we talk about the man-made electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation we produce. We have it in cell phones, we have it in Wi-Fi, in smart meters, in GPS, monitors and screens, computers, smartwatch, microwave oven, among others. And then we have two areas where we create not use electromagnetic radiation, but we create them ourselves when we drive in a combustion chamber car. Every combustion chamber car creates electromagnetic radiation. And of course, the electric car does it by the thousands. We know that. Um, and well, I know it at least, and I want to share it today with you that we all know it. So these are the potential sources of electromagnetic radiation. And I want to blend them in. I want people to be completely aware of those sources because it's not only cell phones and it's not only Wi-Fi towers, but in so many applications, people have nowadays more and more what they call smart meters on the property, where you get charged for the electricity you use and the water. And they don't know that even those run under Wi-Fi, but it's the case.
Hmm. Interesting.
Now, the next area where we will be talking about quickly is an overview of what means 5G. 5G means nothing else than the fifth generation of Wi-Fi technology. The first generation we had back in 1981, as you can see, and it goes up and up and up and up. And every new generation had more capacities, more gadgets, more toys to play with, and became more and more dangerous and more dangerous to your health. This is an overview of these different Gs. So 5G means only the fifth generation of electromagnetic radiation. That's all what it means. But again, the danger became higher and higher. And now on the horizon, they talk about 6G. And we haven't even pumped up 5G to all his capacities and intensity levels, which are very, very dangerous. Okay, so far so good, Josh?
Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, perfect. It was a great overview of what we kind of went over last week.
Yes, but I don't know whether everybody saw last week's show, so I
Oh yeah,
would.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So, how safe is electromagnetic radiation? It's not safe, not at all. And no company had ever to prove electromagnetic radiation is harmless. It goes that far, a lot of people are not aware of it. You cannot be insured against electromagnetic radiation. You have this famous company, Lloyd's in London, who insures basically everything. As a dancer, you can insure your legs if something happens. As a piano player, your fingers. They insure, they say in the industry, everything. However, they will not insure you against the danger and problems of electromagnetic radiation. And if somebody knows business, if they stay away from that, that means a lot, to my opinion, right?
Of course it does. Yeah. That means that it is everywhere, like you said, and it is causing problems and they won't even insure it. Then people that are dancing and obviously playing the piano, there's way more risk for them to get hurt than, those specific ligaments or something, So yeah, very interesting.
Electromagnetic, as we measure the speed of our car in miles and our weight in pounds, we measure electromagnetic radiation in microwatt per square meter. That's the international standard. I didn't invent that. Um, our body needs electricity. A lot of people don't understand our body. We need electricity. Without electricity, our heart wouldn't work and our brain wouldn't work and a lot of other functions. And we have a natural electricity in our body, a natural electromagnetic field in our body. And this field, this measurement is about 80 microwatts per square meter, 80. More than 120 is considered harmful. And you should not expose yourself to more than 120 microwatts per square meter. Now, this is the international standard. I don't want to bore you with technology, but if you get this idea, 80 is regular, more than 120 is bad. If we do a cell phone call, we have at least 1,000 or more.
Yeah.
If we drive an electric car, we have 5,000 or more.
Wow.
So, and again, I'm collecting this data for the past 18 years since I started this journey with electromagnetic radiation. I started 18 years ago. And the Science Directorate of the European Parliament says, I quote, public concern is not unfounded. In places with long-term exposure, should 100 microwatt per square meter not be exceeded.
Wow.
And that's a very remarkable situation that, so to speak, a governmental institution does say something like that. Okay. Because you hardly find um, that public places do express these concerns as they did it.
So sometimes they have to kind of put it out there, like it put truth in plain sight. Sometimes they do that, you know. So do you think that's kind of part of the plan? You said it's 5,000 part of the plan of why they're moving us into electric vehicles. Because I mean,
No, that's part of it. If you allow me, I will come back later
okay, no worries, no worries. Go
in
ahead.
my program about electric cars, right?
Okay, yeah.
But I wanted you to understand that here and there you can find indicators, and it's hard to find for the average person. Of course, I find them and then I use them in my presentation, right?
Yeah.
Now, we all think, of course, 5G is a new thing. They rolled it out, especially in that time when we were locked down for COVID in 2020. When we were locked down for COVID in February, March 2020, they started to roll out big time 5G and the towers and so on, right? They don't make a big fuss of it. That just happened, and the media hardly talked about it, right?
My friend that installs the towers, he was actually saying that everybody else was locked down and we were putting in massive amounts of towers. Yeah. He just
Yes.
like let's put that it was on a show actually. It's on the Flat Earth Files by George Hobbs. Yeah, he was talking about that.
So now we all think 5G is new. 5G is not new. 5G has been used by the armies as a weapon since the 1960s. I will later give you references on that, but upfront, 5G is not new. It's a weapon used by the armies. So, technology used by the armies as a weapon. And as I always mention in my shows, the problem is that the armies in this world have all the money they want to develop something. There's no end of the budget, right?
Yeah.
Where even big private companies, entities can't afford it, but the army can. And whether you need it or not, it's not the point. They develop it, and then later they sell it off in commercial products. Like GPS was only used by the army first, not by, with your
Yeah. Very
laptop or
true.
your cell phone, right? Or microwave ovens and so on. These are typical examples for that, okay?
Reverse osmosis water too, like we were talking about Norbert on that one show.
Yes,
Same thing.
yes. So what we need to understand is the coverage of 5G real quick before we go into practical examples. Now, before 4G was pretty much spread, and it still is. 4G is not over, but there were different coverages. With 4G, 3G, 4G, you could spread a very wide, long distance due to the natural properties of these waves. Now, with 5G, the waves are so short that they can be easily blocked by trees. So they talk about when trees, the leaves are wet from a rain, from towers, from small walls, and so on and so on. So they can easily be blocked. So because they can easily be blocked, they needed to bring a tower or a transmitter every 300 feet, average every 300 feet to make sure these signals are transmitted. Because if they're not, we always complain we have no reception, right? So to guarantee reception, they have to come up with these distances. So 1960s, it was used as weapon since then. In 1932, German scientists already discovered microwave sensitivity on the human body. That's so long ago. And we have on this earth magnetic fields, and many animals like birds and fish and others navigate on this earth with those magnetic fields. The brain functions between 0 and 100 hertz on a wave. The heart functions on 2 hertz. And this source of the heart, for example, the electromagnetism, can be measured even a few yards away from your body. Our own nervous system can create electric energy waves. Our body produces infrared, which can be seen for miles with the night vision equipment. I don't know whether you came across this in the army when you
Oh
were.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Tell us something.
Well, we have to train with everything, you know. So in basic training, you never know what situation you're going to be put in. So in basic training, you get to test with night vision. You get to test with, you know, because when you're shooting, they have different ways you need to use. You need to do with a gas mask. You have to qualify. You have to qualify with night vision. You have to qualify without. You have to qualify with a scope, without a scope. I mean, they want to make sure that yeah, you have you're checked off all the boxes, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Now, obviously, there was nobody on the other end that I'm shooting at, but we do check night vision. I could kind of see different people from different distances and how that works, you know.
Yes. So
But yeah,
there's more going on with frequencies than the average person will understand or will know, right?
yeah,
Because we can see it, we can feel it, we can hear it, right?
yeah,
So we are blind in this case, right? Now, it's easy with the towers we have nowadays. You can see them for long distance, these huge towers. But these small transmitters, which they need in between, they don't show them. You don't see them. They're exposed, but if you don't have an eye to see them, to detect them, you won't realize them. But they're everywhere, and they're getting more and more and more and more and more and more. So when we talk now in the practical world, what does that mean for us? Um, we need protection when we're at home because our home has 24/7 Wi-Fi. If you have your own Wi-Fi, which many people have, even if you switch your own Wi-Fi off at home, you can still have the Wi-Fi from your neighbors, and you have. And the easy proof is when you switch off your own Wi-Fi and you go to a computer and you want to go to the internet offers you two, three, five, 10 Wi-Fi connections from your neighbors
yeah,
above you, besides you, which means the frequencies are there, whether you switched your own one off or not, that's irrelevant. I have a lot of people who tell me, "Oh, I'm not in danger. I switch off my Wi-Fi at nighttime." Yeah, okay, you switch it off at nighttime. What about daytime? 18 hours at daytime, right?
yeah. And then also, Norbert, your own cell phone is sending off a Wi-Fi signal too. So it's like if you go to personal hotspot and it's on, let's say you shut off all the Wi-Fi, even if you did shut it off in your house, your cell phone's still sending a Wi-Fi signal as well too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
And even if your neighbors wouldn't have Wi-Fi, you would receive the signals from the next towers and transmitters
Yeah.
because they have to cover your house, otherwise you don't get a reception, right? So I want to make people aware of the danger which is there, whether you know it or not. So we have to protect ourselves at home while we're at home, where we think we're safe, we're at my home. When we're in the car, driving in the car, in our workplace, wherever we work, on our body, wherever our body is, when we're leaving, shopping, going somewhere, going to church, to kindergarten, the kids, to school, it doesn't matter. We are exposed with our body everywhere. And of course, when we're traveling, planes, trains, buses, we have everywhere exposure. And in the free open air, because you cannot go to any soccer stadium or any street where there's not Wi-Fi penetration. It's everywhere. Now, what is so bad about it is that the radiation of 5G permeates human skin more aggressively than any other thing human have ever invented.
Wow.
Okay. It permeates through the skin. When it does so, of course, it attacks all the organs and your bodily functions. It's more aggressive, more dangerous, more harmful than anything human beings have ever developed. And it's
Your
really,
cells too, right, Norbert?
say it again.
Probably on a cellular level too, right? Like your cells, not just your organs, but your cells and stuff like that
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
right?
yeah, sure, sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure, sure, sure. It's the entire 9 yards, and that's what it makes it so dangerous. And again, you make it so dangerous because you can't see it, you can't smell it. Most of the people can't feel it. More and more people do feel it, um, as they're getting some people more sensitive than ever before, right? So these are the dangers of 5Gs. Now, there is a computer program or an app you can go. It's called antennasearch.com.
Yeah.
Antennasearch.com. And when you put in any address, like put your home address, your work address in there, it shows you within split seconds all the transmission towers and small antennas which are around you within the range of 3 miles. Here's an example of my location in Clearwater, Florida, around my company. I have, in November of last year, were 192 transmission towers and 383 antennas,
Wow.
all within 3 miles. And when you open that program, it shows you even a listing of which ones are the closest to you and how far are they from your home. Um, and then you get the idea. Now, one information is that these are only the official registered ones. They're not the private ones. They're private ones, but more than what you see on these statistics.
I'll try to leave that in the show notes to you guys. So if you guys want to check that out, antennasearch.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, many people thought that I'm against progress. You're talking about against 5G and so on and so forth, right? I'm not naive. I'm not a nerd. I'm not a lonely wolf. This society cannot live, work, act without electromagnetic radiation, without Wi-Fi. We're not aware of that. The entire airline industry, airplanes wouldn't be functioning without this, and the cities, and traffic control, and so many hundred fields where if we would stop tomorrow electromagnetic radiation, Wi-Fi, the entire world would collapse.
Yeah.
I mean, would collapse.
Yep, I agree. Everybody, and then people would collapse too. People would be going crazy because if you leave your cell phone at home, let's say if you were driving to Vegas or something and you left your cell phone at home, you could be 2 hours away from California and then still turn around. I forgot my phone. Boom. It's so important to people, So, and then
Yeah, it's
people
not
won't even be able
important.
to drive either, Norbert, because nobody knows how to drive anymore, like as far as directions,
Sure.
because we depend on our phone. Not just everybody, but me as well, not
Most
saying.
most people do. Most people will not be able to get a map and find their way with a simple map,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, which I used to drive half of my life with. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So at least you're used to it. You'll be good if the end of the world happens. We're good.
Well, I'm a bit older generation than you are, so there was nothing like that. So I want to make this sure that people don't think that I'm against progress.
Of
I'm
course.
against technology progress. I'm against that people, companies, governments develop technology which is harmful to this planet, flora, fauna, human beings, everything. And this is what I'm against. And I'm against that we are not informed about it. We are not educated. Or possible, how do we defend ourselves? And who takes responsibility for all this? Nobody.
Yes. And then also, Norbert, as well, I think it's since they are making money off of this and they're doing all this, they should have in every cell phone something that blocks like the same thing that which we talked about on the last show that you created should be on every single cell phone to stop people from being damaged by this, but they're not even thinking about that. They're just, I think it's part of their. I mean, for me personally, I think it's part of their agenda too, because if there's a person that's super healthy, let's say they have your water thing that you created, the they have everything like besides that, then they're still gonna maybe get cancer from something. So I think they're attacking from all angles. For
Yes.
example, like energy drinks, the ones that you get for working out. If you look in there, there's they at least have the colors in there, that red 40 or whatever. They're trying to attack from every angle, I think. I know people might think that's crazy, but they don't want you to be healthy, obviously. So
No, no, no. So that's what's going on. Yes, you're right. And we're getting to this deeper now. So some people ask me, so why do we need that? Why do we have to go to 4G, 5G, and so on? And perhaps 6G, for Christ's sake, Chris, 6G. the data flow on our planet, the amount of data being collected and needed for certain operations is so huge that you can't do it with 4G. You have to have 5G. A larger data flow, a faster data flow, a bigger number of devices which we're operating with and which can be connected crosswise, not only for phones, and as well, for example, for running electric cars. You gave that hint there, what we'll talk about in a minute. Um, so to connect all kinds of devices on the industry and private sector, you need 5G. You can't do it anymore with 4G. Now, I came up with this small little concept where I said that 5G controls seven basic areas of our lives. Without 5G, they wouldn't be able to control these. And let's go through these real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it.
The first area, 5G controls seven basic areas of our life. The first area is, without any doubt, communication. Okay. All the entire communication we work with, whether it's our cell phone, whether it's our Wi-Fi, we all need to control these areas. And to do that, you need 5G. And 5G is everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere, unfortunately. The 5G situation became very, 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 very dominant. The communication is the basics. Your communication can be blocked with a single push button. If somebody, some entity wants to block your communication, they can block it with a simple push button. So the other side needs the 5G in order to control, collect, manage information, communication. So that's the first area of life where 5G is used to control our life. The second area where our life is controlled is our consumer behavior. Where we buy what, who bought what and where, what are your tendency? And I know everybody has experienced that. I buy something today on Amazon. Let's say I buy a towel. And all of a sudden, left and right, I get offers for towels. I didn't ask for it, but they've seen that I'm looking into this.
Yeah.
We know that. All these companies monitor you, and it's not only the companies, but government entities can do the same thing. What are your hobbies? They can see who is going on porn websites. They can see who is buying which type of products. And so the entire consumer behavior can be controlled with 5G.
And it's even worse now, Norbert. I personally believe that you don't even have to like look it up on Amazon. Sometimes if you just speak it,
Yes.
that you're looking for it, then it'll pop up on your phone and it'll pop up on your Instagram, your TikTok. Because I had a shoulder issue, and I kept, this is an example. I had a shoulder issue. Like my shoulder keeps hurting, when I lift my arm up and I had issues and I was telling my wife that. And literally on Instagram, this thing called Anaconda, it's like a shoulder brace started popping up and it's still popping up today because I haven't bought it yet. It pops up all the time as an ad. And I didn't even have to look it up. Like if you just say the word, it actually pops up. So it's really interesting.
Yes. Yes. So that's the control of the consumer behavior. The
Yeah.
next of the seven is money. Number three is money. Well, I think we're all aware that money as we know it will be taken away from us. Cash money as we know it will be taken away from us and will be replaced with digital currencies. And again, that digital currency, which means they can be very easy controlled. Where do you spend your money for, how you spend it, how much you're spending, and so what you do with your life and your finances. We still call it money, but it will be a digital currency, which leads then to the next point, consequently, which is credit cards. Okay. Of course, credit cards are practical. There's no question. I travel a lot throughout the world. I've been to 39 countries so far, and To change cash in every country you come against the local currency is crazy, which I had to do in the old times. If I went to 3, 4 countries in a row, I had to get cash money for every country I was traveling, right? So there's no question that a lot of these things are practical. Don't get me wrong. Credit cards are practical, yes. However, besides that, they may put you in a dependency because people use credit cards as a loan, as a constant loan. I use the credit card when I travel. I spend money on the credit card. When I come home, I immediately cover the money I spend on the credit card with money transfer cash. So I don't need the high 28, 25, 29% interest rate, which is ridiculous. It's a mafia situation, okay? So, but credit cards, again, you can be easy controlled where you spend your money, how much you spend your money. And this is absolutely a control function. Such is the next one, which is digital IDs. Okay, you have the passports, the driver's license, are all in digital format, which again is very practical in many ways. But let me give you an example how at an early stage this has been used and abused. Those of you, depending on your age, you remember a guy called Edward Snowden.
Yep.
Edward Snowden was the biggest whistleblower, I think, ever in history, at least in this country here. And I would encourage you, if you haven't done so, to watch a movie which is called Snowden. Really, everybody who's listening now and has not seen that movie, and a lot of you don't know who Snowden is and what does it mean, the biggest whistleblower ever, who was working for the government, you got to see the movie. That movie is the huge eye-opener. I mean, it's not a gut. You must see the movie. If you are a critical thinker, you want to know what's going on in the world, you really want to know, you got to watch that movie. Now, and here's an example how the control of the ID card worked. The story I'm sharing now, I was never able to talk to Edward Snowden direct. I should try. Time is right. I should try with my technology to talk to him. Oh yeah, I should do that. If anybody happens to have his phone number, email, please share it with me. I got to talk to him because he would be surely interested in what I have to offer to protect ourselves. So what happened? Edward Snowden took secret information and wanted to publish it. And he took that information and ran with it and met with a colleague from the press, from the media in Hong Kong. He wanted to give them the information and then go on to his trip to South America. He wanted to escape and go to a safe place where he could live. Now, this guy is so incredible smart. I mean, so incredible smart. And there are plenty, not plenty, but many YouTube sections you can see with interviews with him. And he made a major mistake, which he apparently, I believe so, he underestimated. So what happened was, once he shared the information, he knew when the crap hits the fan that within minutes, hours, the American government would be looking for him, right? And try to capture him. So once he shared the information, he had a few hours ahead of him to escape before it got published. He took an airplane from Hong Kong to South America, and he made a stopover to change planes in Moscow. And some people who don't travel a lot internationally don't know when you're at an international airport, there's a zone which is country free. When you're in that
duty
zone,
free, right? That's why it says duty free.
well, duty free is to buy merchandise,
Yeah.
But technically, you're in that zone in the airport in Moscow, but you're not in Russia.
Okay.
Legally, you're not in Russia. You're in that zone, right? Because if I would go to Russia, I need a visa for Russia. But I don't need a visa to be in that spot in the airport because that's a neutral zone. If I leave the airport, I must have a visa, All right. So he changed planes. And here was his big mistake. He changed planes in the airport in Moscow. That was in 2013, I believe. And when he went to his connecting flight and showed his passport with the boarding pass to get on the plane, they looked up his computer and says, sorry, your passport is not valid.
Oh, wow.
So once the American government saw what he created, they immediately blocked his passport with a fingertip.
Yeah.
And he, I believe, did not realize that that could happen, right? So what happens now in history, he was in the airport. He couldn't get out into Russia or try to get into Russia, apply for a visa, whatever, if possible. He couldn't get another plane. He was stuck in the airport.
Wow.
I don't know exactly how many days or weeks he lived in the airport while the government, the American government, went crazy and asked the Russian government to deliver him, right? And the Russian government, well, did not deliver him. So that goes on for days, for weeks. I don't know the exact time frame. It's not so important, but it was not an hour.
Still,
It was
yeah, still that's the whole thing is very interesting.
so.
Yeah.
So the next step, what happens is after a certain amount of time, the Russian government gave him asylum, and he could leave the airport and go into Moscow, right? And there he is still today. He's still in Russia today. It
Wow.
happened in 2013. Because in interviews, he clearly said, look, guys, I would come back to America to go to court. That's okay. But I don't get a fair trial. I cannot even have my own, by the laws of the American government, I cannot even have my own lawyer to defend me.
Because it's treason, right? They basically feel like he
Yeah,
created, yeah, yeah.
yeah, okay. So for me, the guy owns a medal for freedom fighter.
Yeah.
Okay. So he lives in this country, which was not his choice, since 2013. Okay. All right. So this is the story of Edward Snowden. And I mentioned this as a great example how, and for you to be aware, how the government can easy tomorrow block any digital identification. You have no more control.
And make you very, very uncomfortable, you know, just like
Very
he
vulnerable.
was.
Very
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
Which the next point then, the 5G controls 7 basic areas of our life. The next point is electric cars. You mentioned that. Now, electric cars, to make it clear, to my definition, are not invented to save energy. That's for me complete nonsense.
Yeah.
But here you have, again, a control mechanic. With an electric car, you can be controlled. Where are you going? How long do you stay there? Do we want you to drive the car? Because again, with a push of a button, with
Shut you
a
down.
they shut you down.
Yeah.
Like even if you leave your car in a gas station to buy a coffee, hopefully not coffee, but okay. For the inside, that's internal joke. I wrote a book about
Yes. Yeah. For
coffee.
those that don't know, yeah, we had a show on this. So,
So, but let's say, okay, let's say you drink a tea, right? A good tea, herbal tea. You go out to the gas station to get some tea. In this moment, somebody who sits at the right button at the right computer can just block your car. You're locked out. You cannot drive the car anymore. It's not under your control. Um, so the electric car is fully controllable. So as you control the driving, with the technology, somebody else can control you if you can drive the comfortable car.
wow.
And I heard, and I'm not sure it's true, I have to check it in. I heard that Ford in his electric cars has put in a program. I got to research this. What I'm saying now, I'm not 100% certain, but it sounds like it.
I can help you with this part.
Okay. That when you don't pay your lease
Yes.
while you sleep in your bed at nighttime,
Yeah.
they take your car and drive it in the digital way back to their yard. And
Yes. This
you
is
got,
true.
is it true?
It is true. And also there's there's an app that people download with the Ford because at my work we have Ford that even if the person is at home, let's say somebody's all the way at their house and you lock your keys in the car. Like my friend has the app for the same truck that I drive because it was his truck previously. I called him and he was at his house and I said, "Hey, I locked the keys in the truck. Can you help me?" And then he can log onto an app and he can open the doors. He can start the vehicle from home. So think about that. If he could do that, what do you think they could do from Ford? Even though it's not electric, this is just a regular gas vehicle. He could start the car from his house. I mean, think about that. How was that happening? He's starting the car from his house, like, and he lives in Fontana. I live in Rialto, so we're at least like 15, 20 miles away, and because he's in northern Fontana, and I was way down south. So, isn't that pretty crazy? Very,
Yeah,
very crazy.
yes. So this covers, as I said, the 5G control areas we have in our life, and the last one, number seven, where our life is controlled, um, is the medical data. You know,
Yeah.
the medical data controls our life. Um, this is just a simple fact. Medical data can be controlled and will be controlled. So, which means from the day you're born, um, all the data you ever been to hospital, any vaccination, every X-ray, every time you've been to a doctor, every time you had medical treatments, all this data is collected, which ends up in evaluating how healthy are you and how much do we need you. And health insurances or life insurances may get the data to insure your life or to say, well, we don't take your health insurance. With what we see here, it's nonsense to insure your life. We don't want that. So these, my friends, are the seven basic areas in which 7G, 5G, and if it comes to 6G, it's going to be terrible, um, will control our life. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And we also have AI moving in quickly as well. Um, so, and also it makes sense biblically if Revelation hasn't happened yet. I know some people believe it has, but if the book of Revelation hasn't happened yet, that's what I believe, if you're a futurist, this stuff would have to all come into place before like the mark of the beast would be able to happen, right? So you're not going to be able to buy, sell, or work without the mark of the beast, let's say, for example. And in order for them to control that aspect, they would have to take away the cash and they would have to make it all digital. And they would also have to have the manufacturing in place. As far as like a 6G so that that the digital purchasing would actually be available in every country, which is happening right now. So if you do believe in a future scenario, uh, biblically, this is an easy way for them to do that, right? And they could even start maybe like a social credit system like China, and then it gets real controlled, right? And just like Norbert was saying, they could easily make you super uncomfortable very fast. So what they could say to you is, if you don't take this mark, which is on your right hand or your forehead, according to the Book of Revelation, then you're not going to be able to buy, sell, or be employed. And this is a way that they could do that. And you see that they're slowly moving into that. And Norbert is just naming stuff that he's noticing. And if you are into prophecy, back in like 1920, when you read Revelation, you would say this sounds so far. It doesn't even sound like it could happen. But now, when you read Revelation in 2025 and everything that Norbert's going over, you know that it's moving very quickly and fast. And they are, I mean, literally, there's places right now that don't even take cash or even give you change. They say, "Oh, the change. Just do you want to donate it to my company, or do you want to donate it to someone that needs it?" And you just donate the change, and you just give it up. So it's happening fast, but we have to look at it from a spiritual concept and not just a physical. The physical, hey, you know what? You could be uncomfortable physically, but there's a spiritual aspect to this as well, and we need to definitely be awake to this.
Yes, yes. Now, at every turn, the media and the industries are raving about the 5G technology, So people believe that's something great and something we need and is good for us. But who talks about the danger? Nobody really does. Today, every third person dies of cancer. The Epoch Times reported the World Health Organization recently forecasted, even them forecasted, a 77% rise in global cancer cases. 77% rise. So every third person dies of cancer. The number is getting worse. So the devil is already in our house, and the name is electromagnetic radiation. We can't reverse the wheel. And as I said, without the electromagnetic radiation, our society would not work. And we're feeding the devil. Um, there is no Robinson Crusoe Island. I get emails all the time. Where can I move to where I'm safe? No, you cannot move anywhere. You're not safe. You got to live with it, and you got to be prepared, and you got to do something about it. The big industry don't do anything for you. The government doesn't do. They won't protect you at no cost. So
The
we have,
devil's actually called the prince of the air in the Bible.
yes,
Um, Hold on, let's see what verse that is real quick. The Ephesians 2:2 refers to Satan as the prince of the power of the air. So yeah, that's a good example of what you said. The devil's already in your house. Yeah.
devil is in the house. We invited him, and we have to feed him now,
Yeah.
and he lives of us. Now, in the health term, for your understanding, I mentioned before that we have a natural electromagnetic radiation of 80 microwatts. Now, with Wi-Fi, our own electromagnetic radiation, our healthy electromagnetic radiation, gets overwhelmed and sabotaged by electromagnetic radiation Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi overrules our natural field in our body. And I give you here two, three small figures. If you have a healthy cell in your body, it runs on electricity, which you can measure 20 to 25 millivolts, a healthy cell. Now, if we need to repair ourselves, the body understands I need to repair these cells here now. And then it pushes it up to 50 millivolts to bring in new proteins, increase the circulation, removing waste out of your body. All these mechanics the body has by God given to heal yourself. But when electric current flows, and especially electromagnetic radiation, this healthy way to heal yourself is gone. It doesn't work anymore.
Wow.
And of course, I have to bring in these moments, I have to bring in my standard, what I call my standard way of expressing myself about medical doctors. And I say clearly that, to my opinion, 95% of all medical doctors are disgrace. I've been talking to many people over the years, 45 years. I'm in alternative medicine for 45 years and talk to hundreds of people who are sick or want to become healthy or who are healthy, which is the minority. So the doctors, 95% are disgraced. They can't think holistic. They're not treating a patient, a person. They're treating symptoms, not even an illness. They don't treat illness. They treat symptoms of an illness, what they consider illness. And to my definition, illnesses like what we call cancer, Parkinson, dementia are because we are poisoned. We're not ill. We are poisoned. Whether it's the bad water we drink, uh, toxic food we eat, electromagnetic radiation, spiritual damages we have, which poison us and our minds and our bodies. And to heal, we got to get out of this. So 95% I consider a disgrace. 3% of the doctors I consider good. 2% of the doctors I consider fantastic. And I had the privilege in my life so far and keep going to work with these 2% people who inspired me. I learned from them. In some cases, they learned from me. It's an exchange. And when these doctors come to my seminars, when I give my presentations about healthy water and about radiation, about frequencies, that this planet is based on frequencies only. They come to me and say, why did nobody tell us all these things when we were at medical school? We were not educated in this. And it makes sense what you're saying, right? And an example, these 2% doctors I find fantastic. These are all doctors who have one thing in common, at least. One thing is they came out of medical school and they realized we don't know anything. And we have to educate ourselves. We have to find truth. We have to find methods and different technologies and programs to help the patients. And then they started to learn and to apply, you know.
Yeah.
So what are now the main consequences for health and Wi-Fi? The main consequences are, with no question, um, let's start with children. Children have what we call a blood-brain barrier, which we have as adults as well. But the blood-brain barrier, which is supposed by God's given design to filter out toxic particles before they get into the brain. And this blood-brain barrier is not developed with children. We know that. Children develop 4 to 5 times more likely tumors. A lot of behavior disorders we have nowadays with children are based on the influence of electromagnetic radiation, full stop. And of course, that children too often play what I call stupid computer games and lost the real world. And a lot of them don't have the love and attention they need from the parents. Parents have less and less time to share with the children. Whether the children are hyper or depressed, many cases, food, especially sugar, fast food, and electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation destroys the water structure and DNA. It damages the cells. And the thing is that we adults have the same reactions: hyper, depressed, behavior disorders, DNA destroyed, and so on, so on, so on. And with adults, we have additional features that, for example, the hip replacements, they doubled over the years, okay? Main reason, connect the dots, is most likely the cell phones we carry in our pocket or in our holsters, right? Then we have an increase of problems with adults, men, that the sperm quality and amount has reduced. This is proven. We know that. But nobody connects the dots and blames the cell phones, electromagnetic radiation, Wi-Fi. Women have bigger problems of being able to have babies. Big time problem, ignored to a big part. Colon cancer, prostate cancer, brain cancer has dramatically increased. Connect the dots. You hold this thing next to your head, right?
Yeah.
And when I give seminars, live seminars, I do something which you may find interesting. I found out that basically, and test yourself, every person is holding the cell phone to one side of the head, left or right, which has nothing to do with your right or left-handed. You'll find out that you 99% always hold the cell phone to one side of your head.
Yeah.
So when I give seminars, I ask 3 people to come on stage, and I turn around and I ask these people to show the audience which is their cell phone side, left or right. Once they showed it to the people, I turn around and I'll test the people in kinesiology, muscle testing, and I can predict with a 99% success rate, I can tell them which is your cell phone side.
Hmm.
And they're all shocked. How can you know which my cell phone side is? You turned around, you didn't see it, right? No, I didn't see it. But when I test you, the test shows me which of the 2 sides is more damaged.
Wow.
And I can do
Interesting.
it in 1 minute, and I keep doing this for years.
Do you think that any of the craziness that was happening in 2020 has to do with how many towers they were installing? Like a lot of the people, if you notice how crazy it was going, like the George Floyd stuff was happening, people were rioting. I mean, Los Angeles had riots. There was riots down the street from my house. I mean, it was just crazy at that time. so much divisiveness. Do you think maybe they turned it up
Oh
more
yes,
notches?
oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
Uh,
I keep saying this in my seminars, and unfortunately, I don't have the image here in front of me, which I usually have. Um, you may have heard about the pineal gland.
yeah.
The pineal gland, of which the average medical world knows that the pineal gland is responsible for producing melatonin. Yeah, okay. We know that that's easy. But the pineal gland, some people say in human development many years ago, many thousand years ago, the pineal gland was a part of the brain or was a brain. And the pineal gland is responsible for the hormone distribution of the body and what we would call sanity, how well you are balanced. Okay. So there are a lot of functions not publicly discussed. And I've said for several years now that the pineal gland is being attacked by 5G. Okay. 4G before as well, but now especially as well 5G. And in a few minutes, we'll talk about deeper into this if you hang in with me.
Okay. No worries.
Now, besides the human body being sabotaged by 5G or, yeah, by Wi-Fi, it has a big consequence for nature. We know that bees and insects are vanishing from the planet by the billions. I don't know whether you're aware of it, whether you heard of it, whether you know it. I
There's
have
a
this,
documentary called Bees, I think, or something like that, that my wife was watching that.
yeah,
She said that same thing, yeah.
yeah, and I have a seminar which is called, it's about the bees vanishing from the planet, right? So for me, the main reason is the distribution of Wi-Fi, okay? That the bees lose their orientation because of the Wi-Fi. The same for insect. And it goes that far, bees are up to 80% responsible for our pollination, for fruits, vegetables, and so on. And it goes that far that in China, they started manually to pollinate flowers, plants,
Oh,
blossoms. Okay. Um, so I was called in 2018, 17. That was my first come out here in America. In Germany, I was on the road long before. What happened was in a school, in the Western Elementary School in Ripon, California, they had various cases of cancer among children and teachers. And they found out that on the playground of that school, they had set up a transmission tower.
wow.
And the school was receiving every year $25,000 to have it.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, they same thing with the old water district I worked for in 2001. They had one there too. They were paying $1,200 a month, I think, to for them to be able to have that one.
Yeah. So, and they quickly dismantled the tower, right? But the damage was done and the word was out there, something is going on. And then somebody must have said to somebody about this German guy down in Florida who works with these kind of things and knows something about it. So within a few days, few weeks, I was interviewed on 50 American radio stations across the country. They wanted to know what is electromagnetic, what is Wi-Fi, what is it, That was back in 2017 or so, right?
Wow.
And
Awesome.
people didn't know, right? And I know that most of what I said just passed them by, and people did not understand or believe it. Okay. It was, in other words, a bit too early. It was a bit too early. Nowadays, it's a bit more known, not totally and not totally accepted.
Yeah.
So back again to the pineal gland and the 5G Wi-Fi. 5G is not only one frequency, it's a bundle of frequencies. And I will give you some quotes soon. And these frequencies can be stirred whether you want to stimulate in a person aggression or suicide, indifference, sexual assault, creating cancer. Certain body functions can be attacked according to the programs of these 5G frequency ranges which we have. And I encourage everybody, you don't need to believe me, but there is a person, a whistleblower from the British Army. His name is Dr. Barry Trower, with whom I communicated. He's a very interesting fellow. And Dr. Barry Trower, you cannot talk to him on a computer or cell phone. He does nice handwritten letters to you. And Barry Trower, please go to the internet, find on YouTube interviews with him. You don't need to believe in me. You don't need to believe in me, but in Barry Trower. He was involved in warfare and Wi-Fi for many, many years. And he admits openly nowadays, what people do not know. And he explains what happened, and he gives you a very, very straight information about 5G and Wi-Fi and how it kills our body. And he gives you predictions that we have about 2-3 generations left before we kind of vanish from the planet, what happens to our DNA and so on. And here's a few people I want you to look into. Okay. You don't need to believe me. These what I call trustful sources on the danger of electromagnetic radiation. Dr. Ola Johansson from Sweden, again, internet, YouTube, interviews, presentation. Dr. Barry Trower, big time man, big time in this. And there is Dr. Dever Davis, Senator Patrick Colbeck, and then there's Captain Jerry Flynn. Captain Jerry Flynn, again, a whistleblower, this time from the Canadian Army. And Jerry Flynn wrote this book, which I don't sell, but I encourage you to buy it. If you really want to know, you'll find more out in this book than I could ever tell you. He's a complete whistleblower. It's a dictionary of 5G, of all these things which are harming the human body, okay? Please, if you want to find out more than I can say and more time we have here, he tells you everything what's going on with Wi-Fi and how the different armies have used it and how it has been with the World Health Organization and government entities, how they mingled and how they manipulated the information.
And they weaponized it, yeah.
Yes. So what happens at the end of the day as well is that all these things have a big consequence, and the big consequence is our nerve system. We have a nervous system which is parasympathetic or sympathetic. And our sympathetic nerve system, on which we typically operate, is very unhealthy. Very unhealthy. And all these issues with electromagnetic radiation, Wi-Fi, puts us in the sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system is out of your control. It's called as well fight or flight mode, which is unhealthy, and you can be always in stress. The body is permanently in stress to defend itself. And we should be living more in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is a stage which you can easier accomplish if you're a spiritual being, if you pray, if you're aware of your mental and consciousness. And we're missing all that, unfortunately. And again, the Wi-Fi is to a big part responsible for that. Now, I have been working on all this for many years, and in consequence, I developed a technology to help mankind. Because knowing the problem is half the solution, but I had to find a solution. And it started all with when I became sick because of cell phones 18 years ago with my firstborn grandson 17 years ago. And I became sick and I had to find solutions. I couldn't find anything which works. So I developed technology. I invented technology based on quantum physics. And it's made in my company in Germany. My headquarters is still in Germany. So what did I do? I developed a product in 4 different sizes. You have up here the -9-1. It's a small plate, a very small plate, which you can wear around your neck or in your pocket. And it protects you from electromagnetic radiation, Wi-Fi, in a distance, in a sphere of 5 feet. As soon as radiation comes to your body, is 5 feet still away, in that moment, we nullify it. I explain that in a minute what it means. Then I developed one product, SD95, which is 15 feet, which I recommend highly for cars, to leave it in your car 24/7. Then I developed one 9-10, which is 30 feet, which I developed for office spaces, for example. And 9-50, which is 150 feet in radius to protect basically your entire house property. Now, these products come with a 10-year warranty and all made in Germany. And they're very simple. You see here, I'm wearing the small one, okay? So you can put in your pocket, whatever. I can go now in the open air. I can go into restaurants, into places, churches, kindergartens, hospitals, wherever I go, I'm protected. A sphere around me, right? And then the next size, it's a bit heavy to wear, but it does 15 feet, and you would put it typically like in your car. And the next one is 30 feet. You would put it in your office. Or when I travel hotels, I take it with me, put it on a nightstand in hotels. So this is technology I developed. And the big one, which is about this size, is for entire house and property. And people say, why 150 feet? That's a lot. Radius, okay? 300 feet in diameter. Usually the average property isn't that size. But what it does is, if you have a sandbox outside for the kids, a patio, a barbecue place, they're all covered.
Yeah.
So why can I say this so clearly? Well, I can say this so clearly. It does more than just these Wi-Fi things, because Wi-Fi is only one part of the devil. The other part is that we have protection from transmission towers. Cordless phones at home are dangerous. Cordless phones at home are dangerous. People don't know that. Similar to cell phones. Cordless phones are dangerous. Gotta bring it up here.
Oh, yeah, no
Cordless
worries.
phones are dangerous. Smart meters, of course, monitors, computers, everything. All these products you listed there, they're all harm your body. Then we have products which produce electromagnetic radiation, like combustion chamber cars, electric cars, buses, trains, radar radiation from the police does that, and solar systems. A lot of people say, look, solar is the solution to handle our energy problems, right? Yeah, but you have to know it. There's a devil in it, and the devil is it creates electromagnetic radiation. So if you have a solar system on your roof
Oh, I have that too.
and you sleep in your house, of course, and many people in the attic under the solar system, it harms your body big time, big time, big time, big time. Now, as you have my big disc, right? You're completely protected. So every electromagnetic radiation, which is within 150 feet of that disc, is handled. It's no more dangerous. Now, and that works as a globe, second, third floor, basement, not only on a horizontal way, right?
Yeah.
Then we nullify, harmonize these things, and I explain in a minute what harmonizing is. And you have radiation occurring in airplanes. You have a natural radiation airplane. So We have a natural occurring radiation on our ground by the world, not by cell phone industry, but by the planet. And I took a Geiger counter with me on airplanes years ago. I guess nowadays they would take me out of the plane with a machine gun. But at this time, I took a Geiger counter with me and I measured the intensity of radiation on the airplane, which was basically 30 to 40 times higher than on the ground. And if you break down cancer illnesses by profession, airline pilots have one of the highest rates of cancer in the world by profession. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah. Never heard that.
Well, and a lot of if you talk sometimes to people in the airline industry and as well the flight attendants, it is an not loud spoken word that they all know that they're more sick than they would be average wise. So what do I do? What did I invent? I try to give you the crash course what I invented. The radiation from a Wi-Fi signal, I separated in two parts. One part is the part which you need technically to use Wi-Fi. Cool. Then there's a part which you don't need to use for the Wi-Fi, but which comes with it and it harms you. So a part which we don't want, but we get it, but we don't need it. So my technology, I invented a technology where I can, what I call, nullify that part which is harmful to your body. And which looks a bit, a simple graphic like this. It's called inversion. And inversion in the audio industry, when you have signals, certain signals, they can cancel each other out. It's called inversion. So let's say the part of the frequencies of the Wi-Fi is -2. We know the frequencies. We know them. They're -2. Let's make it simplified. -2. Now, I program into those units, which are quantum physics computers. In the world of quantum physics, they are computers. They are programmed. Now, I program in a +2. And a simple math inversion, +2 -2 is 0. I call it nullify. So these harmful frequencies are for you not harmful anymore. I compare it with taking a venom snake and you pull the venom tooth. The venom snake is no more venom snake anymore. The tooth is pulled. So I can do this in this technology while you can still use the cell phone or Wi-Fi signal, whatever it is, you can still use it. Now, some people may say, well, that sounds very bold and cocky, right? Hard to believe it's true. Well, I prove it's true. So what I did was I had all my products scientifically tested. Cost me an arm and a leg, but it had to be done. So I tested my product scientifically with the Pisa Institute in Austria. And nobody needs to believe me. On my website, improveyourlife.us, improveyourlife.us are 1,500 pages of all my products, not only these we're talking about now, which have been scientifically tested by the Pisa Institute for them to show my claims are valid or not. I wanted that. I didn't look for victims for my technology, which I developed out of needs. I didn't have a company I inherited from my father and moved it on. I saw the need for mankind to be protected. It's my calling. It's my job. And to make that clear to you, I'm not becoming rich because of that, because the majority of people will refuse to buy the product or don't even hear about it. They're so infiltrated with wrong information. But my calling is to get this done. So I sent all the products to the Institute in Austria, and they tested it. They tested it, and once they tested it, here's what a typical test looks like. That's an extract. I quickly run you through the extract. That was the entire house protection, the big unit, right?
The 150 feet or 300 feet in diameter. Yep.
Just as an example, okay? They took this product and tested it, and once they did the testing, I'll get the results, okay? So what you see now in the testing, all values in blue are degenerative, and all values in green represent the state of a desirable, normal, healthy situation. That's what they do. So they take, for example, certain functions in the body. I had to put my glasses on.
There's gallbladder, joints, liver, fat liver,
Yeah,
heart,
yeah,
intestine, blood circulation, and endocrine. I guess it's
yes.
endocrine. Sorry.
Integrated system. And then you see everything is in blue, right?
Mhm.
Which means degenerative. And then the next one, stomach and nerves and
Lungs, skin, colon, stomach, nerves. Yeah, pancreas, abdominal, bladder,
so,
lymph, and kidney. Yeah.
so they run the test of a woman in her house being unprotected from electromagnetic radiation, Wi-Fi. And these were the results. And once they did that, they took my product and put the disc into her house and tested her again. And everything which was blue before, harmful, now turned to be green, healthy, a desirable state. Then they made, which they told me later, I didn't know, I was not present. I'm never present when they test the product. I'm in America, they're in Austria, and I don't want to be present. And then they put this product out of the house again, had to take it 150 feet away in a parking lot. And 2 hours later, they tested the woman again. And everything which was 2 hours ago green, healthy, now became blue again. The body dropped again in that ditch of these influences. And here is the comparison before, after. And again, you can see all that on my website. You can read it, you can download it. There's loads. This is just an extract of one test, okay? But not of everything. And once they did that, they issue a certificate in which they confirm that my claims, my findings are valid. So nobody needs to believe me. And I'm not looking for victims for my world. I'm trying to offer solutions. That's all I do. Okay, so we're coming towards the end now.
Yeah, it's
And
perfect. Hour and a half. Fit it in perfect.
okay, so let me summarize, if I may. Wi-Fi has a permeation of the skin, which means, of course, if it permeates the skin, it penetrates the body and all the organs and functions. The exposure to various sources of EMR accumulates, of course. So in other words, you have 12 hours a day cell phone and Wi-Fi 24/7 a day, and you go to this location, to that location. You have everywhere you have penetration, and that accumulates. Plus you drink poor water, plus you eat lousy food. And let me repeat that example which we did when we were in Europe. The last time I gave a live seminar, just 4 weeks before the shutdown in Zurich, Switzerland, we went to a hospital. There is a program which may be still available called Fing, a software which you can download. And when you activate that software, it shows you where I am now, how many Wi-Fi connections are running through my body. You move to other locations, the number changes. You move to another location, the number changes, because the Wi-Fi connections change all the time, right? So we did this in a hospital in Zurich, the city of Zurich, in Switzerland. And what do you think is the result of how many Wi-Fi signals ran through my body?
I think I was saying 10 before, but it was more like 300, I think you said. I can't remember.
1,200.
1,000. Okay. Yeah, I was off by a good
And,
800,
and I
900.
must say, we didn't believe it first. We did not believe it. We said that must be wrong. Come on, come on. We went to a second hospital, and the result was basically the same.
Wow.
So in a place where you're supposed to become healthy, 1,200 Wi-Fi signals are penetrating your body. You cannot become healthy. Now, people don't understand that these things accumulate over time. Like I worked a lot as a management consultant with alcoholics, and you don't become an alcoholic if you drink a lot of alcohol for 1 or 2 years. It accumulates over time. The liver tries to defend itself, tries to defend your body, tries to digest the alcohol. But after 15, 20 years of heavy drinking, the liver gives up and liver cirrhosis appears, right?
Mm.
I take this as an example to make you aware that these things, for some people, hit immediately and they feel bad or get sick. Others, it takes years perhaps before they feel a difference. And then the doctor, of course, says you have this and this problem, and he hardly ever connects it to Wi-Fi. So we have Wi-Fi, we have the poorest water, damaging food, then throw in a lack of mental and spiritual awareness and possible unethical behavior, lack of love for yourself and for others. All this accumulates in you and makes you sick. You cannot separate them. And in quantum physics, we know that you cannot separate physical phenomenon and mental phenomenon. Your physical world and your mental world are intertwined.
And spiritual too.
Yes, which I mean with is
Yeah.
mental world, of course, you know. So the consequence is long-term illness, suffering, and more or less a painful death. Now, there are people talking about the need to expand our living space to Mars or other planets as our population is increasing so rapidly, right? Well, what's the use as we will import our stupid attitudes and our lack of post-survival patterns to the other planets? If we stay the same and go to other planets, nothing will change. You know, I immigrated from Germany, and people always ask me, so what is it like to immigrate? You know, I would like to immigrate, go to another country. I said, well, if you immigrate, be aware the problems you're having now don't go away. You import your products when you move to other locations, unless you personally change. And moving to another planet does not save us from our stupid lifestyle. Wherever you go, you take your deficiencies with you. And John Lennon had a song which goes in the main course, something you can't hide when you're crippled inside.
Mm.
Okay, you got to work on yourself. My belief is by the time it may be technically possible to move to other planets, the death toll on our place here, due to the poisoning of water, poisoning of food we consume, plus the crippling and deadly effect of electromagnetic radiation, all this reduced our population so significantly that there's not enough space here for the remaining part of mankind when it comes to that day. This population, and if you listen again to Barry Trower, the English whistleblower from the army, he confirms there is no escape for what we're doing now to mankind. We are on the biggest suicidal mission you can ever be. We're on a suicidal mission, covers all the areas. And as you say, your spiritual and religious awareness is a big part of that.
Yeah.
You cannot protect yourself from electromagnetic radiation here and now if you don't do the right way. Whether I'm your right way or not, it's not the point. There may be others out there, not many. Most of the products out there offered do not work. So this brings me to my bottom line of today, which is that we have to become more aware. We have to become more aware that we are aware that mankind may be extinct because we believed that the laws of nature do not apply to them. If we have a natural body temperature of 98.6, that's God-given. That's not by accident. All these laws of nature are God-given. They're not by accident. We just ignore them. We think they're not valid for us. but they are God-given and not by accident. So, my dear friends who listened so far to me and to the show and to Josh as the host of all that, I appreciate that I'm on the show. I can share my knowledge, which I believe is knowledge. You decide whether it makes sense or no sense. You watch out there, but don't ignore the laws of nature. And all this, what we're doing there, is not nature. By the way, next week's shows, I have a theme which is called geopathic radiation, when the mother nature hurts you. Yes, there's as well as issue there, which I'll teach next week. And my basic opinion about all this is that there is only health if your body and your mind are in harmony, which includes your spiritual awareness and you well meant existence. You have a cause on this planet. You should be a cause on this planet. You have a causing, and you have what I call a calling. And whether you know it or not, you have a calling, and it's your job to find that calling and to follow it.
Amen.
That's my website. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you, Josh. And thanks a lot for having me.
Okay, so the website, just for those that aren't seeing like in audio, it's improveyourlife.us. So just make sure you guys, I should have it linked below. Just send me an email. I know I have it on the last show, so I could probably just copy and paste it. But yeah, great show. Once again, looking forward to next week. And like we said, our spiritual awareness needs to be up, and we need to understand that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities of evil. And the devil definitely wants to kill us, and so does they don't want to pay Social Security for for 100 years. If you notice, the Queen of England and all these rich royalty and black nobility, they you see them living till 99 or 98, and you see us living, with dying of cancer at 64, 65. A lot of the times when we retire, a lot of people end up, and I'm not trying to scare people or fear porn people, but I see a lot of people that retire, some of my family members at 65, like they're supposed to, and they literally only get to enjoy like a year or two of regular life. So
And the number is getting younger. So the
yeah,
people who develop cancer is getting younger.
yeah. So Norbert is just trying to make you guys aware of that, and then also he's creating products that are helping us hopefully nullify some of that stuff. So I really enjoy your shows, and I have a good time talking to you, Norbert, and I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you. And like we always do, we're going to end this in prayer. So let's do that. So, Father God, in the name of Jesus, I appreciate you bringing Norbert on the show. And we're just trying to make people aware of the dangers out there and, keep people healthy. And, when we are serving you, Lord, we want to make sure we're healthy. If we're called upon to go to China or some other place to spread the gospel, we want to make sure that we're healthy. So, the only way to do that is kind of finding out things that are making us unhealthy, and I think Norbert, that is his calling, Lord. And I just ask that you bring him closer to you, Lord, and also protect him when he's going on these missions, and also help him when he's doing this research. Help him to find the perfect data and the right data for what he's trying to invent. And Lord, we appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you for a clear connection. And we know there's a lot of evil out there, but we know that we have you. So, we're comforted in that, Lord. So thank you. And we appreciate you. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. So, all right, everybody that's listening, yeah, check out his website. And also, if you guys could subscribe to YouTube. I will probably try to release these shows on YouTube, and hopefully they stay up. But we'll do our very best. But thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you, and God bless.